Hello, this is Aaron from AaronOnAutos.com, and today we're going to do our shaky cam interior review inside a 2019 Kia Sorento. This is the slightly redone, much redone back seat. The back seat is, the third row I mean, is actually usable in this new edition. So, other than that, most of what you'll see in here is pretty familiar if you're familiar with Kia. Really like the Sorentos. The Sorento is the budget-minded but not cheap three-row crossover. Good family size. We got a lot of stuff in here. Had the second and third rows down and got a love seat recliner in here. So yeah, you can get a lot of stuff in one of these. So the interior, I really love the leather, the look of this. This is the highest end package. It's the most expensive one. I believe it runs, I'll have to check, but down here I'll put the number. I believe it's about $44,000, but it'll be written across the bottom. I might be wrong. It might be 48, but it's the most expensive version of this. These start at somewhere in the high 20s, if I remember right. I'll also put that right across here, right there. Anyway, doors, windows, and whatnot. So you're seeing most of the usual over here. Up here you have memory settings. Here you have your door latch, and you can see it's kind of a pretty metal that offsets the black here. That goes really well with the brown leather down here, leather-ish. I think it's leatherette. This is plastic for sure. This right here, I'm not so sure, but I'm pretty sure this is also leatherette. Again, I'll mention that if it is not. So your windows here, this is your window lock, so you can lock the kiddos from changing their window, or rolling their windows up and down, I guess I should say. Over here are your mirrors. So in the middle is auto. Over here folds them. Over here leaves them open permanently. Auto mode means that they're open all the time until you lock the car. So if you get out of the car and you lock it, the mirrors will fold in, and then left and right so you can adjust them. Over on this side, you see the first of the vents. The vents in here are pretty good. They're good enough for the vehicle that they're in. So they're right sized for this vehicle. Down here, you'll see there's the dimmers. That is the blind spot monitoring. That is the lane keeping. This turns the 115 volt household outlet on and off. That's located on the console. And this is the traction control. Down there, you'll see the fuel port release and the rear hatch really open. This has the automated hatch, so it opens on its own. You have to hold that button down. You can't just push it. You have to hold it to get that to open. It also closes it. So, or you can use the buttons on the hatch itself. But that's pretty much what there is to see there. Over here on the steering wheel, things are reversed from what you might normally see in a vehicle. So cruise control is on the right-hand side instead of the left-hand side. And the left-hand side stuff is telematics and voice control and that sort of thing, and also these controls which run the what's the word? I'm really having a hard time with words. Infotainment over there. So this stuff normally on a lot of cars, this stuff is over here and this stuff is over here, but every manufacturer is a little bit different. Some of them shove them on extra dongles, and some of them put them on, so whatever. I like the setup, though. The buttons are obvious, so you know what you're using when you use these buttons. So everything over here, including whether or not it runs infotainment versus driver information display, also very obvious. I really like that. So the mode button's the giveaway here. So you can see you hang up and use the phone here. You run the volume here. This changes tracks and stuff on your music or radio stations. Or if you use this, then it changes the mode for what's going on the infotainment, which usually is the input for audio. It can also change other things if the screen is on something else. You can also control the navigation volume using these. You do that by, when the navigation pops up a prompt, it'll pop up there and over there. So when that prompt prompt pops up and the nav is talking or should be talking, you can push on this and raise or lower that volume. Up here is your voice controls. So you hit that and you start the voice controls. They are decent in this car. I've seen better, I've seen worse. So not bad, not terrible, not great. Over here, this stuff runs mostly the driver information display and the cruise control. So you turn cruise control on and off here, reset and set, increase and lower speed there, cancel it here, following distances here. This car is not aggressive about its following distance. So if you have it at the shortest distance, it's going to be tailgate in Colorado time, because this car will get right up on them. Some people might like that, some people might not. But you have like 5 settings here, not just 2 or 3. Normally you have about 3. This has 5. So you have a lot of distance control. I really like that. Over here, this controls what's being shown in the middle of that speedometer. And then this goes up and down through those same menus. Most of the menus are pretty straightforward. I'll show you a few of them in a minute. Not terribly complicated. You have the trip info and all that kind of stuff for the most part. You also have some vehicle info. Up here, since we're pointing at it, this is the washer wipers, etc. You twist this to do the rear, and you pull it forward to do the rear wash, and you push it back. I did that backwards. You pull it forward, so you pull it towards you to do the front windscreen, and you push it back away from you to do the rear. Over here, you have lighting controls, so I'll block the sun. The sun just decided to come out and put glare on me. Isn't that nice? But these are pretty obvious. You can see I have it on auto. There's your fog lamps right there in the middle. You flip that up, and brights and whatnot. And signal turns. Remember, there's signal turns, because you signal and then turn. All right, looking over here. Luckily, I don't have to block a lot of light. There is a little glare, but it's not bad. So I'll start up here. You have engine heat. Down here is fuel. Over there's your tachometer. Here is your speedometer, and then you can see I have the digital speedometer on. Down you can see there's the gear, outside temperature, estimated miles left on the current fuel situation, drive mode right there, and odometer. Down there is one of the several safety lights. Most of them are across there. I have the brake set because when I park an automatic transmission, I always set the brake. But that's electronic. I'll show it to you in a minute, and I'll show you where the drive mode control is also in a minute. But to be totally honest, I have not noticed a whole lot of difference between the different drive modes. I will say that in sport mode, this does have much more throttle response. So the throttle is much more responsive in sport mode. Now for that menu, let me flip through it a little. So you can see some drive info on the trip. You can see some accumulated. So 219 miles of driving, average 19.3 mpg. And I will point out that of that 219, it's about a 50-50 split highway to city. And it's been cold weather, so there's a lot of warm-up time included in that. I should be getting a little better than that, and had I had a EPA style mix of highway driving this week, which would mean about 60+%. I think they run at 65% highway versus in town. If I had been running at that, then I would have much better mileage, but still, considering all the factors, that's pretty decent for the size of this vehicle. There's a few other things on here. Here's some drive mode stuff and some other things. Then you can hit that mode button. Now you can see some of the other menu options. So there you go. They're pretty plain. There's not a whole lot of variance or complicated whatever going on with that. Going over here, there's your push button. There's another vent. You can see it's the same as the one that was over there, only now it's standing up instead of laying vertical or perpendicular. Yeah, whatever. Infotainment screen. This is the top end infotainment screen for Kia. Very well done. I like it. This is, for all intents and purposes, your main menu. So this is what you'll be looking at most of the time. Navigation is there. Audio is going over there, and some fast buttons to do some stuff really quick there. If you jump into the all menus, then you have this. I don't have anything hooked up right now. My phone's not plugged in. There's nothing hooked up. Otherwise, one of those would be lit, depending on the kind of phone. And there's the other one. You know, it's pretty simple. There isn't a whole lot of really complicated stuff going on with this thing, but it does do the job, so I like it. I also like the song prompting. If you're running satellite radio in here and you've been using the favorite button a fair amount, it will pop up and prompt you and say, hey, there's a song. You can hit it on there, or you can come over here and you can hit it on here, and you know, you push this for okay, by the way, and it will boom go over and run that. I think I used the right one. Yeah, I did. So really cool. I like that. Other than that, like I said, it's not complicated. It doesn't do a whole lot, but it does everything it does really well. So good on them. Lots of hard buttons. You can see them. Most of them are pretty straightforward. You can just bring up a map, or you can jump to nav and put in something where you want to go and whatever, radio, media, etc. And this is a volume control, and you can push it to mute the radio. Over here is the tuning and whatnot. Here's your Duke's lights. Here is the climate control screen. So this would show, if I turn it on, you can see climate is set, it's on auto, etc., etc. Makes a lot of noise, so I'll turn it back off. You can sync both sides. You can do both. It's dual, so you can change it. You can also control the rear AC right here. The controls for everything else, if I remember right, are not up here, which is annoying. That's something I will point out. I wish that could have you set things like rear temperature and stuff like that, but you can't. You have to do it from the console. Down here, most of these are pretty straightforward. Here's your defrosts and whatnots. Down here is your bun coolers, bun warmers, steering wheel heat, and excuse me, and bun heat and cool over there. Right here's your bourgeois cover. Underneath that, there's some plugs, there's some stuff you can drop in, a couple of 12-volt outlets. This is a key charger, so you can put in your phone, and it will, I think it's pronounced QI charger there. So you can drop in a wireless charging phone in there. Really like that, by the way. It looks good. It's pretty. Drink holders here, they're pretty good size. You can get a lot of stuff in there, and then you can see the bottom pops out for easy cleaning. This right here is the gear shifter, T-style. Roll. Anyway, pretty straightforward on that. This does not have the NASCAR style paddle shifting, but when you have it down in the D, you can shove it over and you can do manual shifts like you can see. Here's your electronic parking brake. Pull it up to set it, push it down to stop. Auto hold is for hills, so it is not launch control. Over here is the drive mode. So to cycle through those drive modes I was talking about. The drive modes are pretty simple. You basically have comfort, eco, smart, which kind of finds a balance between eco and comfort, and sport mode. Over here is your differential lock. It locks, you can see there, it locks the center differential, not the rear, the center. Here's your parking controls. You can turn your parking sensors on and off using this. In the wintertime, you will need these in any car you're in because ice tends to build up on the sensors, and then they stop working or they go off all the time and you have to shut it down. This turns on and off the camera. The camera will not run when you're in park. It's a weird thing. I don't know why. When you're parked, you won't get any camera action. See? Nothing. So, but if you're in neutral or in drive, and at low speed, or in reverse, it automatically comes on. Then the cameras come on. This is equipped with the 360-degree cameras. I took a cool picture of the cameras in action while I was going through the automated car wash. You'll see that now. Pretty cool, huh? Anyway, over here, you can just see some more of the way this looks. Soft. It looks hard, but it's soft. Plastics, nicely textured, does a good job. It's quiet in here, surprisingly quiet on the highway. I really like the tones, so I just like the color tones. I don't tend to like black interiors, especially on the bottom, because they just look dirty all the time, but white interior seems to be the only other option, some sort of cream, and I call that never clean cream for a reason. I really like this seating. Nice and comfortable, good sized, and pretty. I just like the look. It just looks good. In the back seats, you can see, if I can get back there. Let me just fling this camera around, make you all sick. You can see there's a 3 across in the second row. The third row is folded down right now because I had a bunch of stuff back there. The second row has tilt and has adjustability, which is a way to say it. So the seats tilt back and forth. You can see they're not totally even right now because somebody wanted theirs further back. They also slide back and forth, which is really cool. And then the third row variant, all the way back there in the back, accommodates 2 pretty well. So 2 kids, I should say. So other than that, there's not a lot to show you. This has the panoramic sunroof and stuff, but that's getting more and more common in the upper levels of upper trim levels of various vehicles. This Kia drives well, feels good. It's just a decent family vehicle all the way around, and at a realistic price. So that's all I've got. I think we'll call it done. I went a long time though. I didn't think I went that long, but I tend to ramble. All right, so for Aaron on autos.com, this has been Aaron, and in the 2019 Kia Sorento, got to point that out again. All right, talk to you again soon.